All right, hello everyone. It is me, Gary Ryan, for another Fed League Flash. This is Friday, September 15th. Okay, as I'm recording this, it's actually Thursday. I'm pre-recording for tomorrow. I'll be posting this in the morning. But, so pretending it really is Friday, because when you're watching it, it will be. We've got 4 weeks left until opening night, the official opening night. Now there's 25 days until the first exhibition game between Elmira and Watertown. Remember that. Check that out because Travis Sturgeon will be making an on-ice appearance. Definitely. According to Charlie Penns Jr., he said, Sturgeon is starter for the exhibition game. So don't miss that. All right. Okay, so I want to touch a little bit on yesterday's podcast on Spotify. If you have not checked it out yet, feel free to do that. Go to Spotify. If you don't have Spotify, download Spotify because it's free. And I'm not just saying this for the benefit of my podcast, but there are a lot of great hockey-related podcasts on Spotify. So if you don't have it, you're missing out on a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. So by all means, go there, download it, check it out. And you can find me by searching for Fed League Flash, follow, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, yesterday I touched on the subject of how it seems like there are quite a few players that have been out there that I've been in contact with, and I know that there are many, many others that haven't been able to get a sniff at getting on a roster this year, no matter what. They've done everything that they could do to try and promote themselves. The player representatives have promoted them, and yet we have a lot of cases where players are getting signed to rosters that have little to, in some cases, no previous resume. And it seems like I struck a nerve. So I want to touch on a couple things on that first. First of all, the reason why I did this podcast is because a lot of fans were messaging me and saying, so-and-so just got signed. I looked into their career. What's with that? Why did they get signed? And my response is, I don't know. In some cases, it's a matter of scouting. Some teams do have a designated scout for the team. Some teams do not, and they rely on their own scouting methods. In some cases, it appears that it could be a little bit of, and I used the term yesterday on Spotify, buddy contracts. My first line center told me that I really ought to go check out this guy because they're friends, and so I'm going to sign him and bring him in on a PTO. Maybe sight unseen, or to a level sight unseen. So anyway, that was the topic, and it struck a nerve with a lot of people. First of all, I want to specify that this is a fan podcast, okay? Yes, I have information that comes to me from some reliable sources. Some things come to my attention by way of just people asking questions like this. And then when I did some digging, I was like, there's something going on here. So I want to talk about it. This is what fans do, okay? We speculate on things. We opine on things. We put our take we present our take on things, okay? This does not mean that we think we know better than the people who are on the team in the front offices, or that we know better than the league and how they run things. Okay, it is not that at all. This is perspective. This is a fan's perspective. The one thing I want to make sure that is abundantly clear, I am not, nor do I claim to be affiliated with the FPHL. Okay, I love the FPHL. I'm a big fan of FPHL hockey. That's why I do this. But I am not affiliated with the FPHL, nor do I pretend to be or claim to be. I also do not claim to be a journalist. I try to incorporate some journalistic methods when I'm checking things out. I will confer with different people who are in a position of knowledge and understanding regarding the topic I'm covering, but I'm not a journalist. So don't tell me I am one. Okay, I'm a podcaster. There is a world of difference between podcast and journalistic source. Okay, I try to be as factual as possible. I do present my own perspective on things. You can agree with it. You can. You may not. That's fine. That's your call. But anyway, just want to put that out there. All right. So this is just me. This is some guy in Pennsylvania doing a podcast about a subject that he very much enjoys. So that's that. All right. All that said, we'll move to today now. All right. So the playoff format. Now, when shortly after the playoffs got done last year, Danbury, lifted the cup and everything was done. We were told, okay, the next thing that's coming up is the expansion draft. That'll be happening in early June. Shortly after that period of time, we'll be announcing divisional alignment and playoff format. That announcement never came. Now, the fact that we are only 4 weeks away from the start of the season leads me to believe that the way that things are presented on the FPHL's website, federalhockey.com, is the divisional alignment, which I have pictured here. We have the Empire Division teams here. We have the Continental Division teams here. For point of reference, okay, these are in alphabetical order in each division. There's no rhyme or reason other than that as far as how I have them here. I'm just going to kind of use this as a visual basis here. So anyway, we never got an announcement on divisional formats, how the playoffs were going to play out. So I am running under the assumption until I hear otherwise from a league source that basically how things were run last year is how things are going to be run this coming year. All right. So again, if something does get presented that is contrary to that, please contact me. Let me know so I can properly report that. All right. Excuse me. All right, so last year you'll remember that there were 10 teams and the top 4 in each division made the playoffs. Now we have 11. I have no reason to believe, unless I hear otherwise, that it's going to be different. I think we're still going to be going with the 4 and 4 from the different divisions, which unfortunately that means one more team in the Continental Division is left on the outside looking in. But with 11 teams, things are going to be kind of weird this year anyway. We talked about that with the schedule and all that. It is what it is. There's not much you can do about it. So we got our 11 teams here. We got our Empire Division. We got our Continental Division over here. Running under the assumption, let's just say we get through this year, and this is the order that the teams finish. Watertown, oh, what a disaster. They just, couldn't put together. They're out of the playoffs. Again, this is only a hypothetical situation. I'm not saying I'm predicting that Watertown's not making the playoffs. But again, just using this, they're in alphabetical order. So that's how we have it. So we're looking at, in this order of finish, Binghamton's the number 1 seed, Blue Ridge is the 2nd, Danbury's the 3rd, Elmira is the 4th. Now, how things went last year, and again, I think that at this point, I'm going to assume that the same thing is happening. In this scenario, you'd have Binghamton taking on Elmira in the first round of the playoffs, a best-of-3 series. Binghamton's the higher seed here, so they would be the home team. So the first game is going to be played in Elmira. The second and, if needed, third game will be in Binghamton. And same goes for Blue Ridge. Blue Ridge would host Danbury in this scenario. Over in the Continental Division, with this hypothetical situation, you got Baton Rouge hosting Minnesota. Where did that come from? Mississippi. Big difference. Okay, so you have Baton Rouge and Mississippi. And then in the other series, you have rematch from last year, Carolina and Columbus taking on each other. All right, so, of course, the winners of the series would go on to play in the divisional finals. Let's just say, for the point of argument, the top 2 teams advanced. Binghamton won their series. Blue Ridge won their series. Baton Rouge was victorious, and so was Carolina. So we go to the divisional finals again. Probably a best-of-3 scenario. Again, because the league is going to do its best to try and have games on weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because obviously those are the nights when you can get the biggest crowd in to the arena. Now, then you get to the finals. You have, let's say, Blue Ridge pulled off a big upset and advanced to the finals, and Carolina is going back to the finals, 2nd year in a row. All right, so the 2 teams meet. Now, it all depends on ice availability. We don't know when Wythe County is going to be taking the ice out of the Apex Center. We don't know when the ice is going to be taken out by the Carolina Fairgrounds at the Annex. So hopefully we can have a best-of-5 like we did this last year, but depending on availability of ice and scheduling and all that, and when we get to this point, it may end up being a best-of-3. It was not decided this last year to go to 5 games until right as the playoffs began. It was the first round of the playoffs, and then the league said, oh yes, the finals are going to be a best-of-5. So that may happen again. Because, again, to a degree, the league's hands are tied as far as, how long is the Raising Cane Center going to keep the ice in down at Baton Rouge? How long is the ice going to be at McMorran Place? How long is it going to be available? So that has to go into consideration. So, again, hopefully we'll have a best-of-5, but it might not happen. So, again, this is running under the assumption that everything happens exactly as it did this last year, and you're basically following the pattern. So that's what we're looking at right now with the playoffs. Again, if somebody can tell me, nope, we have a plan for the playoffs, and this is how it's going to go down, please message me and let me know. And I will certainly report that as soon as I possibly can. All right, so that is today's Fed League Flash. And, I had to use the famous Jim Mora playoffs thing because that's just one of the funniest moments in sports history, in my opinion. All right, so let me know what you think about all this. Make sure, again, to check me out on Facebook, Fed League Flash there. Go to Spotify, listen to our podcast every Thursday, and, of course, we're here on the weekends on video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, and tell a friend. All right, this is Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. We will catch you again tomorrow.